everybody and welcome to the channel Bob's Sales this time's next year. So payout has been announced. It is with a new provider. It's not Alibaba like I thought it was. We also have that partnership to go through. We also have the new veve partnership to go through. And of course we have the San Diego drops and all the other drops coming along with it. So Bob this week has got a lot of work to catch up on. So I think the first one we're going to take a look at is the real Stan Lee. So veve are dropping 4 chibi style digital collectibles, dropping blind box format. This of course will be a wait list, and this is Tuesday the 18th of July, 8 AM PT, which is of course 4 PM UK time. Now of course you're probably wondering what chibi means. It actually an art style common in anime, features characters with large heads, large eyes and small bodies. So of course before we get into the drop details, let's get into the story. Stan Lee, whose real name was Stanley Martin Lieber, was an iconic American comic book writer, editor and publisher. He was born on December 28th, 1922 in New York City. He actually passed away sadly on November the 12th, 2018. Stan Lee actually passed at the ripe old age of 95 years old. Stan Lee's career in the comic book industry began 1939 when he joined Timely Comics. Timely Comics would later become Marvel Comics. Initially he worked as an assistant and general dog's body around the office, learning the ropes, making teas, refilling inkwells. He later worked his way up and become the interim editor for the company. In the 1960s, Stan Lee revolutionised the comic book industry by co-creating a new wave of superheroes that were more complex and relatable. This gave birth to the Marvel Age of Comics. Now at the start of the company, the crediting rights was always to Stan Lee, mostly listing Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko as artists. They did in fact help and create their own stories, their own characters and made their own contributions. The fact that Stan Lee was always the sole creator did in fact later cause a rift between the group. So let's not only take a look at some of Stan Lee's creations but also some of the co-creations that were built during the time. The Fantastic Four 1961 was co-created with artist Jack Kirby. The superhero team marked the beginning of Marvel's success. Spider-Man was created in 1962, also co-created with Steve Ditko. Spider-Man became one of the most beloved and iconic superheroes of all time. The X-Men 1963. This was also co-created with Jack Kirby. The X-Men introduced mutants with extraordinary powers, symbolising diversity and promoting tolerance. Then of course we got Iron Man 1963, co-created with artists Don Heck, Jack Kirby and Larry Lieber. Iron Man was a rich industrialist who built a powered exoskeleton to fight evil. Then of course we got Thor in 1962, co-created with artist Jack Kirby. Thor is the Norse god of thunder, with godlike powers to match. The Hulk was also created in 1962 and was also co-created with Jack Kirby. The Hulk of course is a scientist who transforms into a raging green monster whenever he gets angry. Or if you did watch my last video, he could have been grey. Later in 1964 there was the Black Widow. I think the first appearance was in Tales of Suspense. This was also co-created with artist Don Heck. Black Widow is a skilled spy and assassin. Last but not least on my list is Doctor Strange 1963. Also co-created with artist Steve Ditko. Doctor Strange is a master of the mystic arts and a protector of Earth against the supernatural threats. Stan Lee's writing style and storytelling brought a human element to the superheroes, making them not so perfect like Superman for instance, but making them flawed and dealing with real life issues. He often incorporated social and political commentary into the stories, tackling hard topics like racism, war and equality. Throughout his career, Stan Lee played an essential role in shaping the Marvel Comics narrative and characters. He served as the company's editor-in-chief, publisher and eventually became the face of Marvel for his Stan's Soapbox column. In the Soapbox column, you'd get fans writing to Stan Lee and Stan Lee would actually write back to the fans, often replying with a very chilled answer and often advice. Later on, they did start adding the imagery, the cartoon imagery of Stan Lee's face. This did in fact help him seem more relatable and also helped him become a recognised figure himself. Of course, one of the other things that keeps Stan Lee recognised was the cameos in the Marvel films themselves. There was multiple and always a Stan Lee cameo. His contributions to the comic book industry were immense and he earned numerous awards and accolades for his work, including the National Medal of Art. Stan Lee's legacy will always be remembered and will always continue even throughout his death. He leaves an incredible mark on popular culture and inspiring generations of fans and creators alike. Stan Lee was that important to history and comic books. Even rival company DC had to leave a statement and send prayers for Stan Lee and his family. Stan Lee was that big. So veve have finally released the details for the Stan Lee drop. Of course this drop is tomorrow at 8 AM PT, which of course is 4 PM UK time. List price for this collectible is going to be 15 gems and of course it's the first appearance. First available edition for public sale is going to be 41 and we do actually have 4 variations of this drop. So the first one on the list is a Spider-Man pose, the uncommon, and it will be mint in 2,922 editions. The rare is called the King of Cameos. I do actually like that if you just watch the history part. Editions will be mint in 2,400. So the next one on the list is the ultra rare Excelsior, and it's going to be mint in 1,922 editions. And if you didn't know, this is actually Stan Lee's saying. Now the secret rare is mint in 1,050 editions, and it's actually the Nuff Said variant. So with this one, it looks like a younger version of Stan Lee. Of course, a total of 90 editions from each rarity will be withheld by Veve and the licensors like usual. So my general opinion on this drop, I do actually like each variation of this. I must admit I'm surprised at the list price and I'm surprised at the editions. There's a lot of editions. Now personally, if you'd have done one collectible, I would have classed this as a grail in my opinion. It would have been like the partner's statue. But because of the amount of editions and the 4 variations, that does bring it down a bit. But each collectible and each pose in itself is quite unique. And I must say, I actually like all 4 of these. So I am going to try and get all 4 of these on the drop. Price prediction wise, I do see all of these being over retail and I do see these selling out. Whether or not they sell straight away, I'm not sure. But I do expect within a day they will sell out.
There is one more thing. It's been emotional.
So as always, it's been emotional. I've been your host, Bob Sales. This time next year, we will be millionaires. Peace.